Sri Bhagavad-gītā As It Is. Let us offer our most humble obeisances at the lotus feet of Srila Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasadeva and at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, and his eternal associate Sri Arjuna. Let us also offer our most humble respects to the book Sri Bhagavad-gītā As It Is and at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. May they all bless us so that we are able to take to heart all these wonderful instructions. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya.
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 We are reading from Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, chapter 11 and verse 39. Vāyur, yamo, agnir, varuṇaḥ, śaśaṅkaḥ, vāyur, yamo, gnir, varuṇaḥ, śaśāṅkaḥ, prajāpatis, tvam, prapitāmahaś, prajāpatis, tvam, prapitāmahaś, namo, namaste, astu, śaśa-aṅkaḥ, namo namaste astu sahasra-kṛtvaḥ, punaś, bhūyo, api, namo, namaste, punaś, bhūyopi, namo, namaste, vāyur, yamo, agnir, varuṇaḥ, śaśāṅkaḥ, prajāpatis, tvam, prapitāmahaś, namo namaste astu śaśa-aṅkaḥ, punaś, bhūyopi, namo, namaste, vāyur, yamo, agnir, varuṇaḥ, śaśāṅkaḥ, prajāpatis, tvam, prapitāmahaś, namo namaste astu sahasra-kṛtvaḥ, punaś, bhūyopi, namo, namaste, vāyur, yamo, agnir, varuṇaḥ, śaśāṅkaḥ, prajāpatis tvam prapitāmahaś
Prajapatis tvam prapitāmahaś.
namo namastestu sahasra-kṛtvaḥ
Namo namastestu sahasra-kṛtvaḥ.
punaś bhūyopi namo namaste
Punaś bhūyopi namo namaste.
vāyuḥ, air, yamaḥ, controller, agniḥ, fire, varuṇaḥ, water, śaśa-aṅkaḥ, moon, prajāpatiḥ, Brahmā, tvam, you, prapitāmahaś, grandfather, śa also, namaḥ, offering respect, namaḥ te, again I offer my respects unto you, astu, our being, sahasra-kṛtvaḥ, 1,000 times, punaḥ, and again, bhūyaḥ, again, api, also, namaḥ, offer my respects, namaḥ te, offering my respects unto you.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. You are air, fire, water, and you are the moon. You are the supreme controller and the grandfather. Thus I offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times, and again, and yet again. The Lord is addressed here as air, because the air is the most important representation of all the demigods, being all pervasive. Arjuna also addresses Krishna as the grandfather because he is the father of Brahmā, the first living creature in the universe.
vāyur, yamo, gnir, varuṇaḥ, śaśāṅkaḥ, prajāpatis tvam, prapitāmahaś, namo namastestu sahasra-kṛtvaḥ, punaś bhūyopi namo namaste. You are air, fire, water, and you are the moon. You are the supreme controller and the grandfather. Thus I offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times, and again, and yet again. The repetition of the words are meant to underscore the importance of particular meaning. So Arjuna is offering his respects to Krishna after realizing Krishna's position as the supreme controller of everything and everyone. And he mentions some of the things, some of the very important things without which it is very difficult, even for great yogis. A yogi, through his practice of pranayama, can become free from thirst and hunger. But he cannot become free from fire, because the fire of digestion, as well as the fire in the body, which keeps the body a certain temperature. If there's an increase or a decrease in temperature of the body, a slight decrease may be there, a slight increase also may be, but it will immediately affect the entire working and functioning of the body with all its organs. Without the moon, there's utter darkness in the night. Even just 1 or 2 days actually, the new moon day, Amavasya, and the first, that is Pratipad, the moon doesn't appear. Moon is also giving taste to everything. All that we eat, the taste comes from the moon, and growth and energy comes from the sun. You are the supreme controller. That is easy to understand. Krishna controls everything and everyone. Everything and everyone. And the grandfather, as Srila Prabhupada explains, that Lord Brahmā, the first created being, was born out of the navel lotus. He sat upon it, so he is sometimes known as the lotus-born Padmaja. Padma is lotus. Ja, born of. Is also known as Swayambhu, born without any parents. So, actually Krishna is his parent. And when it says born without parents, it means he did not have to spend any time in the womb of the mother. But Krishna is the father and grandfather of everyone. Krishna says in the Gita that aham bija-prada pitah. Bija-prada. Bij means seed. Krishna is the seed-giving father to everyone. So there's always this connection to the Supreme Lord, the seed-giving father. And therefore, Arjuna is saying, I offer you my respectful obeisances. Not just once, not 1,000 times, many, many thousand times. That means I want to offer you obeisances countless times. Cannot keep count how many times I would like to offer. And each time I'm offering, I feel that is not sufficient. My heartfelt gratitude and worship towards you is not enough. Even after offering you 1,000 times and again and again. So out of this feeling that I'm not able to offer you sufficient amount of obeisances, in the feeling of gratitude and worship, I want to offer you 1,000 times, again and yet again. Now this word yet again means again and again and again and again and again. Continues. Yet again. Otherwise it would have been enough to say again and again. But that would imply twice. Yet again means I don't know how many times. Each time I think of you, my Lord, I want to offer you my obeisances. You are air. Now, Prabhupada makes the point here that air is all pervasive. Now, one may say that yes, but so is ether. Yes, that is true. But a not so intelligent person, not such an educated person, will not know that sound travels through ether. When there's utmost silence, dead silence, one cannot experience ether. Whereas air, because of the movement of the air within our body as well as in the cosmos, the air is all the time moving. Air is never still. The ether remains completely still till sound vibration creates waves in the ether, because sound travels in waves. So you are air, you're fire, you're water. You can't live with any of these without any of these three. All these three are absolutely essential for the maintenance of the body. And the moon has a direct influence on the mind and emotions. So the gross body is dependent, so is the subtle body in the form of the mind, which is represented by the moon. So Arjuna, after seeing this universal form, all these majesty, the Supreme Lord, His opulence, His power and potency, are by gradually being realized by Arjuna. As we know that Arjuna has taken the position of the conditioned souls, although he himself is not a conditioned soul, but he has taken that particular position. So to help us understand where we stand, because generally people don't even raise these points in their life. They don't even raise this question. They take everything for granted. Air, who asks where the air comes from? Who asks who controls the air? Is there a controller of the air? Whoever asks about fire, water, all these things, we simply accept it because it's there. And since we did not require to make any effort to have these things, they're already there. And our sustainer, they sustain us. They sustain the body and the mind. So, Arjuna, having taken the part of the conditioned soul, suddenly realizes Krishna, who is my very good friend, my intimate friend, Sakha. Krishna uses the word Sakha. We know in Sanskrit, or even in Bengali, there are many words for friend, not just one, friend. Bandhu, Mitra, Sakha, all these have the same, but slightly different. For example, Krishna uses the word Sakha. Sa, Ka. Ka means to eat. With that friend, you're so intimate that you share your food with that person. You eat together with him. Ka means to eat. So, that's exactly what was happening. And Arjuna even said, "Oh Krishna, I did not know that this opulence you possess. This is astonishing opulence, beyond my imagination." And all the time I was thinking, not even thinking about this in the manner, because we were sleeping, going for walks together, hand on the shoulders, like friends, eating together, sharing from the same plate, even. This is common, one's friends. So Krishna is saying, yes, you're my Sakha. And because you're my Sakha, I'm revealing this confidential knowledge to you. I can't reveal this confidential knowledge to everyone. Because here I'm speaking about myself. In the 9th chapter, Krishna talks about himself in detail. If Krishna had spoken this to anyone other than a friend, then that person would be thinking, oh, Krishna is very boastful. He's boasting all the time, praising himself, calling himself this, calling himself that. Very boastful. What a boastful person. But no, until and unless the conditioned soul knows who Krishna is, he will be inspired to worship him and make him their life's goal. And so there Krishna is saying, now we all think, and this is the general misconception that most of the people have, because they are an illusion. They think that if I don't accept and believe what is being said by Krishna, then it may be a lie. Never have I thought that the truth does not depend on anyone's acceptance or rejection. The truth is self-illuminating. The truth is fully independent. So therefore, Krishna doesn't want to reveal these most confidential things about himself to any and everyone. But because Arjuna is his friend, and he uses this term twice, Bhakto si me sakha cheti rahasyam he itad uttamam. This uttam rahasya, this greatest of confidential knowledge and mysterious knowledge, I'm revealing to you because you are my good friend, having spent so many intimate hours together. And also now you have accepted me as your spiritual master, so you are my disciple and bhakta also. Bhakta osi me sakha cha iti rahasam he itad uttamam. So in the 9th chapter, I told you everything about me. And in the 11th chapter, after I have shown you my universal form, you're saying the same thing to me what I have told you, which is all right. But you're saying these things in your own words. You're packaging the same thing in your own words, which is all right. This would reach to the lowest denominator. The absolute truth must reach to the lowest denominator. If the truth in all its aspect, the absolute truth is like a wish-fulfilling desire tree. It will fulfill all your desires. All your desires will be fulfilled. Even those desires that you did not have manifest in your mind properly, those desires also will be fulfilled. And so therefore, these things are being revealed for the conditioned soul to develop sufficient faith in me so as they can completely surrender when they know that it is not simply my opinion. Krishna is saying that I am the supreme Brahman, that I am the controller of everything, that I am the object of everyone's worship, like that. But because you are also saying and substantiating the same things, for the ignorant mass, it becomes easier to surrender. Arjuna is also saying, Arjuna, the great hero, heroic in battle, indefeatable, comes in the royal dynasty of Kuru. Like that. So, this is actually a repetition and substantiation of what Krishna already spoke about himself, but from the vision, from the vision of the ignorant who do not have the depth of understanding, so that they understand that when Arjuna is saying that Krishna, or his energy, and Krishna is the energetic. Energy is always under the control of the energetic. So this energy, which completely controls our every aspect of life, controls every aspect of our life which we depend upon for our survival. Those aspects of our life depend on fire, depend on water, depend on air, depend on the moon. So our dependence on those things, you are the supreme controller of them. In this way, Arjuna is speaking to Krishna in a language, the language that Arjuna spoke to Krishna was no doubt Sanskrit. But by language, I specifically mean in a terminology which even the lowest common denominator, that is a very simple person may be able to understand and have a connection, get a connection. So, Sunday question and answer session, can we begin?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. When you said our life it depends on fire, I mean the same as the sun too, or no, just the fire?
Well, of course, fire as well as sun. Fire is in our body. It is the fire of digestion. So we depend on the fire in that way. Somebody may say that I don't cook, so why should I need fire? I am eating only fruits and roots and vegetables, and I don't need to cook. But whatever I eat, I have to also digest it. So we have our fire of digestion. So whatever we eat, the fire metabolizes, and in that way, the strength we derive from digesting food will be then carried to the blood veins and air movement within the body to the different parts of the body. So fire we need, and of course sun is understood, because if moon has been mentioned, then sun also is included. One has to understand.
Thank you.
Gurudev, Krishna was at his 50 years old in Kurukshetra. My question is, where was Krishna after Kurukshetra? In Dvaraka or?
Yes, he was in Dvaraka. But very soon after the Kurukshetra war, he left. He stopped his earthly pastimes and he went back to Golok Vrindavan. Soon after, not immediately after. But after the Kurukshetra war, he went to Dwaraka. Because he came from Dwaraka, and he went back to Dwaraka.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes?
My question is that Arjun tells Krishna after viewing the universal form, he says that I cannot catch a glimpse of your beginning, middle, or end. Now, what is the relevance of these three things in universal form?
That the universal form is also unlimited in a different manner. The two-handed form of Krishna as Golokpati, or four-handed form as Vaikuntapati, their unlimited energy, the source of unlimited energy is there. Absolute. Absolute means unlimited. So in universal form, in exhibiting universal form, although it is in the material world, nevertheless, for a jiva, it will never be possible. Never be possible. Generally, we say that everything which is mundane has a beginning and an end, and a middle. That's the general description of anything which is within this phenomenal world. However, the Lord's universal form for the jiva still remains limitless, boundaryless. So in order to drive home that fact, that just because it is material does not mean that it is to be experienced with our senses. It is beyond the sense perception. So although your universal form has a beginning, middle, and an end, for the infinitesimal jiva, there's no possibility of ever experiencing these three manifestations. Not possible. So to actually highlight that, Arjuna is saying that there's no beginning, middle, and end to you, to your form. And it also can mean that it is truly so immense, that it will never be possible for jiva to experience it at one time. It also means that even though Krishna is sitting in front of Arjuna with his two-handed form, yet he's exhibiting this limitless form without his two-handed form relinquishing his two-handed form. Without. So it's both are there in the manifest form. His personal form as Vasudeva, He was Vasudeva there, as well as his universal form. Both were simultaneously present. That exhibits the Lord's mystic potency. Mystic potency. Simultaneously, he was talking to Arjuna, and at the same time, Arjuna was able to see. And because when Arjuna became overawed, could not bear it anymore. At that time, he told Krishna, and not the universal form, that you please return to your original position. He was speaking with Krishna, who had taken the part of a charioteer. He was not speaking to the universal form, who was crushing in his mouth all the soldiers, chewing them, crushing them with his teeth. He didn't speak to that universe. He spoke to the personal form of the Lord Vasudeva.
So, for an infinitesimal jiva, this form is actually, because it cannot comprehend its limits, so it is infinite. But actually, this form is not infinite.
Who said that this is infinite?
I'm just asking.
No. Otherwise, how can Arjuna say, I don't know the beginning, middle, and end? When Krishna would have immediately retorted and said, no, Arjuna, you're wrong. There is no end.
So this form is infinite, isn't it?
No, finite.
Okay, it's finite.
It is finite because it is in the material world.
Mm-hmm.
And it is finite because it is not an eternal form of the Lord. It is a manifestation, nevertheless transcendental. But for the Lord, even certain transcendental manifestations does not necessarily have to be eternal.
One question I have, that prior to this universal form, did this Arjun had any inkling about Krishna as a supreme?
Yes, there's inkling. Especially Kunti Devi, the mother, she was praying from the very beginning. She knew about Krishna's birth. She knew about Krishna's killing of the demons. She knew all that. So Kunti Devi knew about all of Krishna's heroic acts, superhuman acts. Otherwise, where did she get the idea when she was praying in her prayers? She was saying that you are transcendental, that you are playing the role here of you're an actor, and everything you're hiding behind your curtain of illusion. She was fully realized that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Fully realized.
One question I have is, there are 4 sampradaya, of which the sampradaya which actually Lord Shiva is heading, and then there is of which Vishnu Swami is the Acharya, is known as Shuddha Advaitavad. What is Shuddha Advaitavad?
Advaita here is that the Supreme Lord is absolute, one without a second. That is why it's called Advaita. So different acharyas have interpreted words in different ways and different meanings. So Shuddha, usually an Advaita is monism. But he wanted to discriminate and differentiate between the monism of the impersonalists and of the personalists. And so he called it Suddha Advaitavad, transcendental monism.
So what exactly is a transcendental monism? Because we know that Sankara is Advaitavadi.
Yes.
And here you say transcendental monism. Where is the difference?
That is the difference, that Shankaracharya's monism is based on Krishna being impersonal. Whereas Shuddha Advaitavad is based on Krishna as a person.
Okay, so actually when you say Advaita, so we mean that there is no difference between the Jiva and Paramatma?
There is actually, this also implies that the simultaneous oneness and difference with the Jiva as well as with the Prakriti, not only the Jiva, the Prakriti also. Krishna with the Prakriti, Krishna with the Jiva. But the Suddha Advaita establishes that the difference is preeminent, preponderant over the fact that there is oneness. So therefore, at no time is oneness on equal terms with difference, what to speak of a priori, superior to the difference. That is also another interpretation of the word Suddha being used here, that although Jiva and qualitatively the same, still Krishna is Suddha Advaita. And although Krishna expands his energy, so here we have to understand Krishna's expansion in two levels. One is the expansion of Krishna on the Vishnu Tattva level. These are his personal bodily expansions. And therefore they are non-different in every aspect. And there's the expansion of Krishna's energy, which is Jiva Tattva and Prakriti Tattva, Shakti Tattva. So one is the expansion of the energy, Shakti, Jiv Shakti and Maya Shakti, and the expansion of his physical form is Vishnu Shakti, Vishnu Tattva.
One thing is noticeable, that of the four sampradaya, Siva Sampradaya and Kumara Sampradaya and Lakshmi Devi Sampradaya. All these Sampradaya has actually talked about Advaitavad. For example, one which has been headed by Lord Shiva is called Suddha Advaitavad, whereas one which is propagated by 4 Kumar is Dvaita Advaitavad, and in the Lakshmi Sampradaya it's called Visishta Advaitavad. It's only in the Brahma Madhava Sampradaya it's called Dvaitavad. So Advaitavad is a very common factor in the other 3 Sampradaya.
Yeah, but even then, Mahaprabhu did not admit. He rather took the Dvaita Advaita Bad for the basis of his Achinta Bheda Vetattva. Didn't take it from Madhvacharya, the Dvaita Bad.
It needs a lot of studying.
And Mahaprabhu took 2 philosophical principles, not just philosophical, but also theological principles, 2 from each of the sampradayas. But from Madhvacharya, he took deity worship, but did not take the philosophical aspect of Dvaitavad.
Where can I read about this in detail?
Well, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has, in several of his writings, are there. It's kind of strewn all over. I can't exactly remember now. But I know for sure that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks of this in some detail. You can look into the Jaiva Dharma.
Okay. One thing that I came across, the Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has commented about Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. In fact, it's a very reverential comment, and I like this, what he said. So I read it, and I would like you to say something about it. And what he said is that all spiritual knowledge is contained within a particle of the dust of the lotus feet of my Guru.
Yeah.
It's a very beautiful statement.
A very beautiful statement, of course. And until and unless a disciple experiences and realizes this truth, it will be very difficult to make spiritual progress. One has to, the more one advance. This statement is a very advanced statement which is full of esoteric realizations contained with it. And such realizations can come only when a disciple is fully dedicated and humble. Only out of utter humility does one have such realizations.
It's a very, very loaded statement and very beautifully said.
Although, if one considers that Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj was illiterate, he could not even sign his own name. And he never came from a very, what should I say, opulent or educated background, very simple background. He was owning a shop, kirana. But there's so many wonderful pastimes depicting the transcendental position that like Gaush-Shuddhas Babaji Maharaj. Otherwise, Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada could have taken initiation from anyone, practically. But he refused. And Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was a Babaji. And Mahaprabhu and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada was very critical of the Navadvip and Babajis and the Brajavadajis. Quite critical.
Also, this statement assumes a great significance because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a true literati, and whereas Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, as you said, was not really literate.
Yes.
So this kind of reverence is absolutely fantastic.
Yes. Yes. I mean, to decide for such an exceptional genius, even amongst geniuses, he was exceptional.
Yes.
At the age of 16, he not only translated a treatise on astrology, which no one could have, not only translated it from Sanskrit, he even wrote a commentary on that.
Yes.
Such was his exceptional genius. Now, of all the Vaishnavas who were at that time there, he was fully convinced that his eternal spiritual master and guide was Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji.
Very good. It's fascinating.
Yes.
What was so special about Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj and Bhaktisiddhanta?
Where, he represented all the wonderful qualities of a sadhu, eternal associate of the Lord. Yes. And besides, another reason was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was actually instructed by his father to take initiation from him.
Yeah.
So here is a wonderful situation. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is also an extremely erudite scholar. Demigods would come to him to clarify certain points.
Very well.
And he was also given the title of the seventh Goswami. So he belonged to the Goswamis of Vrindavan, who are, as we know, now Bhaktivinoda Thakur, told his son, there's no one else fit to be your spiritual master other than this great personality.
It's amazing.
So, yes. So by this, he broadcast to the entire world the elevated position of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Otherwise, he was anonymous. He was anonymous. Nobody knew him. Because he always avoided the glare of popularity, always ran away. So, which is an actual characteristic of a pure devotee. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Harikatha becomes so sweet when we glorify such acharyas.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. So, if Krishna so desires, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada blesses us, we shall get to hear Harikatha very soon again, the German devotees. I thank all of you for your patient hearing. Let us once again offer our most humble obeisances at the lotus feet of Srila Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasadeva, at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and his eternal associate Arjuna, and to the book Sri Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, and at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.